before he was a famous musician as Jay-Z. Sean Carter, as his real name, was a criminal. At the age of 12, he shot his brother in the shoulder, and he made that into a rap song. He was not charged for this. He was also involved in a violent incident in a nightclub, where he ended up stabbing a professional record executive in the stomach, Lance Riviera. In 1999, Jay-Z was arrested and charged for assault, and got 3 years probation. He keeps being sued every year for copyright, trademark and money theft. Matthew was arrested for the first time, after a noise complaint from a neighbor back in 1999. Police has found marijuana and a drug called paraphernalia in his possession. He was found intoxicated, dancing naked and making noises by playing his bongo drums. He resisted arrest but was handcuffed and taken to Travis County Jail, where he spent the night. He was released next day by paying $1,000 bail. The drug charges were eventually dropped, but he pled guilty to the noise charges, and paid a $50 fine. Robert Van Winkle is Vanilla Ice, the famous rapper, and he has been in trouble with the law several times in his life. He was arrested in 1991 for firearm possession after he made threats to a homeless man with a gun in his hand. In 2001 he attacked his wife and he was arrested for disorderly conduct, charged and sentenced to probation time and therapy sessions. He was arrested for the third time in 2008 for attacking his wife again. Recently, he has been doing a house renovation show, and he was accused of breaking into a house, stealing furniture and pool equipment. He was given 100 hours of community service which he was forced to undertake. Mark Wahlberg has a history of violence in his years before he got famous as the rapper Marky Mark, or the actor we know today. He got into trouble with Boston police over 20 times in his early life. He used to instigate to racism by throwing rocks at African American school children. At the age of 16, he attacked a Vietnamese middle-aged man with a wooden stick on the street, leaving him unconscious. He attacked another man in the same day, blinding him of one eye. Mark was arrested, charged with attempted murder, but he ended up pleading guilty to assault. He was sentenced to 2 years in a correctional facility but served only 45 days. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, his real name, was arrested for selling cocaine to an undercover officer in 1994. He was charged and sentenced to 3 years in prison. He spent only 6 months incarcerated. He was raised by a single mother, who was a drug dealer, and she was murdered when Curtis was only 8 years old. As a result, he started to deal drugs himself. He also carried guns, and was involved in street violence. Curtis was arrested first time when he was 18 years old. He was shot 9 times during an attempted murder by a rival. Obviously he survived, but the shooter was murdered few weeks later. Curtis denied responsibility and he became famous for being a victim. His fame created envy and now he is a target for many murder attempts from people from the past. The former football player and actor O.J. Simpson has murdered his ex-wife and her friend Ron Goldman. He almost got away with murder during his criminal trial, but he was found guilty in a civil trial for both deaths. In 2008, Simpson has been charged with armed robbery and kidnapping after an altercation with 2 sports memorabilia dealers in Las Vegas. He was arrested, charged and sentenced to 33 years in prison. He is serving his sentence today in Nevada prison. Lindsay Lohan is more famous for her criminal history than her acting. What started as a promising career as an actress turned into a social media circus due to her repeated troubled behavior. In 2007 she was arrested for drink driving and possession of cocaine after chasing a woman after an argument. She spent 1 night in jail, undertook 10 days of community service and 3 years probation. She failed to comply with her probation several times until 2010. when she was issued an arrest warrant for missing her court dates. She claimed she was in France for a film festival, and her passport was stolen. She paid $100,000 bail to stay free. She was fitted with an alcohol and drug monitoring device on her ankle, which lighted eventually up after a party, triggered by the alcohol and drug levels in her blood. She was sentenced to 90 days in jail for failing court-ordered alcohol education classes. She spent only 2 weeks in jail. The list of misdemeanors continues with drink driving, petty theft, leaving the site of a car accident and others. She keeps making the news every time she steps on the side. Wesley Snipes is the martial arts and actor from the Blade trilogy and Passenger 57, and he had a long and great 30 years career full of success in the film industry, until 2008 when he was caught cheating the American tax system by failing to declare $25 million. He also filed an amended falsified tax return and managed to get himself charged for tax evasion. He has served 3 years in prison starting in 2010 and also served a house arrest order after. He still claims he is innocent. The incident destroyed his acting career. We all know Charlie Sheen, the popular actor from Two and a Half Men TV sitcom. Charlie has a troubled history of domestic violence for over 20 years. In January 1990, Charlie shoots accidentally her fiancée, Kelly Preston, in her arm. In September 1990, after drug abuse, he checked in for rehab. In July 1995, Charlie testifies on a tax evasion trial, admitting he spent $53,000 on prostitutes. In December 1996, he was arrested for beating his girlfriend, porn star Brittany Ashland, for which he was charged and sentenced to 1 year suspended prison term and 2 years probation. 2 years later he violates his probation, abusing drugs and ending up in hospital. In 2009 Sheen was arrested in Aspen on domestic violence charges, from his third wife, Brooke Mueller. 1 year later he was charged with felony, menacing and misdemeanor third-degree assault in connection with his arrest. The list continues. Fame and fortune are coming with arrogance and illusion of invincibility. Justin Bieber is not stranger to this. The Canadian-born superstar started to have some trouble with the law a few times in the last few years. He was arrested for drink driving in Miami and almost 250,000 people petitioned for his deportation to Canada. He resisted arrest but he got away not being charged. In 2013, Justin was accused of attacking a photographer in a mall in Calabas. Later that year, he was questioned by Brazilian police for graffiti vandalism on a hotel wall. Charges were dropped and he was able to leave. In 2014 Justin has been investigated for vandalism again, for throwing eggs at a neighbor house. A small crime but due to his statues he is still being investigated. In August 2014, Justin was arrested and charged with dangerous driving and assault after a collision with a minivan and an ATV in Stratford, Ontario. He is still showing reckless behavior but his fame and fortune are helping him to get away with it.